Howdy there, youngin', Silver Mongoose here. Since the days of pixels, developers have been putting games in other games. I'm not talking about mini-games like Chocobo Racing in Final Fantasy VII or Gnat Attack from Mario Paint. I'm talking about real games being in other games. Some are just a little bonus, but some can add a lot to your playtime. Geometry Wars, which was originally just a mini-game in Project Gotham Racing 2, even became its own game later on. But I guess that wouldn't fit this list because it was a mini-game before it was a real game, but whatever. Early on, Blaze of Steel gave you a couple seconds of Gradius between periods, while later games like Pac-Man World 2 literally gave you an arcade to play in. So what I wanted to share with you guys is some of my favorite games that have other great games in them. Probably the best known game within a game is a remake of the arcade Mario Bros. In Super Mario Bros. 3 on the Nintendo Entertainment System. In two-player mode, all you have to do is go to a level that the other player has already beaten, and you can battle one another to steal their level cards. This was a great way to have some real interaction in an otherwise turn-based series. I don't know about you guys, but I seem to remember powering up Mario Bros. 3 on more than one occasion just to play this remake. What's kind of hilarious about this one is you can play a remake of an arcade game in an NES game remade again on Super Mario All-Stars for the Super Nintendo, which was ported to the Wii, which is playable on your Wii U. Pretty crazy. Shenmue 1 and 2 takes place in the late 80s, so it makes perfect sense that there are arcade games present. By heading into U Arcade in Shenmue, you can play Hang-On or Space Harrier.
I'll try it.
You can also play them at home by getting a Sega Saturn, which Ryo must have gotten through some sort of dark magic, seeing as the Sega Saturn wasn't even released until 1994. In Shenmue 2, you can find a Space Harrier, an Outrun machine in the Pine Arcade, and the Golden Quarters of Wan Chai. Hang-On and Afterburner 2 are also hidden in the Yellowhead and Phoenix buildings respectively. Honestly, I'm not a big fan of Afterburner or Hang-On, but Outrun and Space Harrier are always fun to sit down and play for a few rounds every now and then. In Time Splitters 2, you can find 3 game carts within the single-player mode to play on your uplink. You can get Retro Racer, a simple top-down racing game, Astrolander, a lunar lander-like game, and Anaconda, a clone of Snake. Astrolander can be loads of fun, but Anaconda really steals the show with its amazing music and ability to play 4 players. I have spent hours with my siblings playing this simple and addictive game. But my number one game, with other full great games in it, is Animal Crossing. In this GameCube classic, you can get several fully playable NES games. You can get a number of them through cheating, e-reader cards, etc., but the ones you can easily obtain in North America are Balloon Fight, Clu Clu Land, Excitebike, Golf, Pinball, Tennis, Wario's Woods, and Baseball. Some of these games can even be transferred to your Game Boy Advance's temporary memory and played portably until you turn your Game Boy Advance off. It's hard to top that in my books. These games alone still make it worth picking up a copy of Animal Crossing even today. So those are my favorite games that have other great games in them. What are some of yours? This has been SilverMongooseVideos, and remember, classic gaming never gets old.